Welcome back to Slingshot Disc Golf. Today I'm going to tell you how I got my arm to stop collapsing. I'm going to show a before and after of my arm collapsing and then not collapsing. And then I'm going to show you a demonstration on how to stop your arm from collapsing. Slingshot the like button, smash up the subscribes, and let's get into it. Okay, so I'm going to show this clip from 2021. But when we look at it in slow motion, that's when I start to feel like I'm going to throw up. All right, here we go. Knees lower. I'm way better at bending my knees. All right, we're at full extension. I remember my thought process during this time in terms of like where I wanted the disc to be when I would fully extend, and I wanted it to be flat, right? So that I could hit my angles better. And this was at the time, and I hadn't even coached a single person yet. I learned a lot going through all that. I want you to focus on the supination of my arm and that frame. Oh, oh, ooh, oh boy. That's a collapsed arm. Now, I was slinging my arm at the time, so it didn't actually affect the shot in real time. Like, this was one of my favorite throws ever at the time. It looks fine. It ends up in the right spot. But it doesn't change the fact that when you slow the video down, it doesn't look right, right? The arm's collapsed. That is a collapsed arm. It's disgusting to look at. And I even remember when I saw that, I was like, what is going on? And this was kind of around the time I started to really work on it, because this happened a lot. It didn't always happen, but it happened a lot. So this is my form now, which is much better all the way around. I'm going to do a form comparison at some point of like the whole body. Left leg so much better, coil so much better, everything so much better. But okay, so that's full extension for me. You can see I have the disc pointed down, and that's okay. So that's full extension. It's literally pointed in the opposite direction. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Go a couple frames forward. No arm collapse. Elbows in a great spot. That's the arm path that I want, right? Because the reality is, while you can't look like someone else entirely, it's just not possible. No matter how good the result of this throw, there was something off, it's not looking right. And that doesn't pass my standards, right? I have standards that have to be met. Just looking at that, right? That's way more in line with what I'm doing now, right? That angling of the disc is what solved my arm collapse. I'm going to do a demonstration, explain some nuances in a second. All right, shout out to Overthrow Disc Golf for getting this footage as usual. This has to do with supination, the natural unfolding of my arm, what I do genetically. So this information may not apply to you. Everybody's got different joints, and I'm sure supination is a little different for each person. But for me specifically, when I tried to keep the disc on one plane, right? So I want the disc to be flat here so that I can control the angle. When I tried to make that happen at the tip of extension, that's when my arm would collapse. It turns out that it doesn't matter if my disc is pointed down. My arm's gonna fold and get to this position anyway. So trying to like extend and keep the disc flat, in my opinion, both for myself and for coaching, that doesn't actually help you keep the disc flat. What it does is put you in a position for your arm to collapse. I've seen it many, many times. Someone's trying to be here and then their arm will collapse down here because they want to be here, when in reality, some of us, if you put the disc down there, your arm's going to naturally come to here and you're going to create a way better pocket. So when it comes to supination, my arm goes like this when it slings. That's just what happens. So if I'm here and I have the disc flat, my arm supinates, and that's why it collapses right to here. When I fold my arm down like this, that supination brings it to this nice 90 degree, which is obvious improvement as we looked at in the video. Just look at my arm. Flat, down. So notice that when I go flat, my arm collapses. It's already collapsed. So many people extend back trying to stay flat, and what happens is their arm is already collapsed by the time they get there. Depending on genetics, this might be the best place for some people, but I've seen it a lot. Another thing that happens when people try to keep it flat is they accidentally go like that. Not only are they not keeping it flat, but that intention to do that, they end up here. Now your arm's really collapsed. Boom. So that was actually really hard to do consistently at first. I would really have to force it to go down like that. And then half the time I would look and I was right there, right? Which happens a lot. I'm sure you understand when you're trying to make form changes, you're trying to do it, but it's not always consistent. Like each rep, you're doing something different. So the thing that helped me the most is I started keeping my arm up during my X step. I started keeping my arm in a position that made it easier to get to that more efficiently, right? So one thing I see a lot of people do is their arm will be collapsed already during their X step. They'll X step up and their arm's already collapsed. When they reach back, they're collapsed. So what I do is I keep the disc down, I keep my elbow up. Now my pump is here, my coil comes into here, and as you notice, from here, it's very efficient to there. Minimal movement to there. Keep the disc at an angle. I don't do it straight down like that. It really is at an angle here. But here's the thing, and this is really important. I had to force it to happen. My body wouldn't naturally do it. It was very uncomfortable to keep my arm up like this. And this extension to here was extremely uncomfortable at first. This was way more comfortable because I was used to it. This didn't feel good at all, but I had to do it. I had to get it to look right. And after a while, it just became completely comfortable. And now that's just how I do it. Sometimes I revert back, it happens, depending on how rusty I am or if I take a lot of time off. You have to push through and force yourself to get into this position. That's how you make form changes. You have to force yourself to get into uncomfortable positions that look right. And what most people do is they do it, it's uncomfortable, so they revert right back, never see any results. Ooh, I like that.